Some of you have mentioned that you have a hard time painting these loose rose on an angle to make it look more three-dimensional. So today I'm going to share with you from basics drawing to finished painting. If we look at the rose from the top view, we can see that it starts with a basic shape. It's a circle. And the center of the rose is in the middle. But if we look at the rose from an angle, we can see that the center of the rose is off-centered. So from the center of the rose to the top is shorter than from the center to the bottom of the rose. So we are going to start by using our basic shape, which is circle. But if you have trouble drawing freehand circle, you can start with a square first and then find the center of the square. And from here you can draw a circle inside the square. But if you feel comfortable with freehand circle, you also can do that very lightly because we need to rub this off later. And then I'm going to mark the center of the rose. And that's it for our drawing. Now we put the pencil away and start painting. With wet on dry technique, using my size 2 round brush to paint C shape. Actually, it's more like a drawing than a painting because I use the very tip of my brush to draw these C shapes. And then I change to my flat angle brush. This is my cheap old brush. I've been using it for more than 2 years now and it's already ruined. As we get closer to the outer edge of the petals, those petals will look larger. This is when our flat angle brush come in very handy because we can twist and turn it to the flat size and using it to paint those large petals. The outer petal usually look lighter, so I use tea consistency paint to paint in those areas. And with the same consistency, I soften the rest of the area. And then I use a darker consistency to darken some of the area. This is usually the shadow area that created by those petals. I'm doing this when my paper is still wet so that it looks soft and blurry. When the paper gets a bit drier but not completely dry, this is a damp paper and I can add more to those areas to darken them. This technique is called wet on damp technique. When I think I'm done with my rose, I let it dry and then I rub off the circle pencil around it. Mixing my green by using Aureline hue and cerulean blue. Aureline hue is a yellow pigment, so I have my leaf in variety color from yellow to green and to dark green in the shadow area. I paint the leaf before the stem and you will know why in a sec. To make my green more neutral or muted, I add the quinacridone magenta that I used to paint the rose. I mix the color on the paper instead of on the palette. For the leaves that are in the background or on the bottom, I mix in quinacridone magenta to the green mixture to muted the green. Using my muted green mixture to add in the shadow and a few veins to the leaves. Finally, we get to paint the stem. The point that I paint the leaf first is that I could get some leaf in front of the stem and some leaves behind, giving the stem a bit of character that will help to add realism to our painting. Adding a few more veins to the leaves, and I try not to overdo it as I do not want to overwork my loose style rose. I usually paint something like this without any drawing. I start with watercolor straight away on the paper. But if you're not comfortable with watercolor because you've just started, you can start with the basics drawing that I showed you earlier. With my dark green mixture, I add it to the shadow area and then a final touch to the rose and we are done. So here are the materials that I use. Number 2 round brush and number 4 flat angle brush. The pigment is cerulean blue and Aurelian Hue by Winsor & Newton Professional, Quinacridone Magenta by Daniel Smith. These rows will take about 5 to 10 minutes. If you have spare 10 minutes each day, you will master watercolor one day. Practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes us better. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Until next time, happy painting!